Hi, this is John from Contribute Korean. Today's topic is understanding. So I just want you to understand the Korean people more because if we have understanding that people make mistakes, then your life is going to be easier. So if you just want to be the friend with Korean people, then I just want you to understand Korean people more with these videos. So today's topic is how to understand Korean. I'm a Korean. Um, while the writing down what my opinions on this video, I was so shocked and sometimes very embarrassed and very irritated because which is sometimes very true. So if you have some problems with these videos, then just comment on it. So I will just correct it right now. Okay, let's go. Number one, Korean people think Korean is noisy. As you can see, the Korean people really like to talk about the others' gossips or other rumors, which is like which is like the signal to be close to other people. I mean, if I just want to close to you, then I just approach you and talk about others, the gossips or rumors about anything, because I just want you to be my best friend. Then I can open my mind to you. Then yeah, you can choose to be my friend or not. So Korean people usually show their affection to other people by talking about other people or other issues. So very noisy. So sometimes which is very working in a good way. I mean, if they just found somebody else in a distress or agony, then they just try to help them, even though they are not close to them. So they just look around because they are very interested in so many things around. I don't know. I just want to know why the Korean people are very noisy. But you have to know that they are very want to be helpful for others, or sometimes they just want to use them for them to be close to somebody else. So that's number one. And the second one is marriage is a necessary course for life. Um, Sometimes I can understand this attitude because the marriage is very free and which is very the blessing for us to do. So which is not coming to us on purpose, which is sometimes by accident happens. But Korean people think that that's very necessary for our lives, and yeah, they sometimes find others because they need to get married, not just to find their the half of the life. So this is really good sometimes because they have motivated to get married. There's some reason why they do this. Every holidays in Korea, like a Solar or yeah, like a new Lunar New Year or the Thanksgiving Day, they sometimes gather together, and usually the seniors, like elderly people, ask them to get married and just ask so many questions about when are you going to marry or like that. So this is really stressful. So when I was the single, I got asked so many questions from my uncles and my aunts and my grandmothers. So it was very stressful. So that's why the Korean people think that they should get married soon in a specific time. So they just consider it necessary course. So yeah, I just want to tell some Korean people around you to think differently because the marriage is a blessing. Yeah, they should find the perfect time, not just try to find the mate on purpose. Yeah, just to get married, which is going to cause a side effect. Okay, number three, Koreans blame a different way. Um, I mean, this is really true, especially you are in the community or in a group, or in an organization, or in a specific the congregations. Then you can find that the people try to go to the one way, not different ways, because they just want to gather together to cooperate each other, and they sometimes just construct it just a perfect way. But if there's someone who is against their perfect ideas, then the people start to blame him or her. So, for instance, in a school, if you have some different way, different opinion about other people, like you just want to get out of the school right away and just you focus on your own the habits, like the focusing on physical education or other things, then people start to think you like a crazy, or you are very um, outsider, uh, and sometimes you look very dangerous. So people started to get away from you, and this is going to hurt you back. So this is true in Korea. So if you have a different way, then you sometimes should be careful of. Be careful. So this is true. So when I was a high school student, I got the same experiences like this. I got a different view with others, but they always said it was right. But had to say no, but I couldn't do it because I don't want to be against them, because I don't want to be blamed by them. So this is true. That's why if you find Korean people studying in a school, then they usually don't express or voice their opinions. So yeah, this is the reason. Number four is the customer is a king. Customer king attitude sometimes causes so many problems. Like we call that 갑질. 갑질 in Korean is means yeah, they have a right to ask the others to do whatever they want to do because they have the right, because they pay the money. So they just behave like king or the queen, or like sometimes God. So they sometimes ask them to kneel down on the road if they feel a little bit uncomfortable or sometimes irritated. Then just ask, and some the nonsense to do when yeah, when they are very angry. So this is was a big issue in Korea. So especially I don't like those kind of things. So if you find somebody else who's doing some rude attitudes to the sellers or workers in the public places, just ignore it and just just see them. They are doing the customer is a king attitude. Sometimes Korean people do, but I'm sure more than half of the people don't like it, and they just consider it as false. Number five, military discipline in everywhere. Usually, military discipline is found in a military base, in the army, in the navy, like that, which is very sucks. Yeah, for me, because when I was a navy, this kind of things sometimes bother me, but it was very hurting me so much. But I was so shocked to see them in a society also. So if you're working in a Korean company, then you can find it, which is sometimes found in the groups or the companies where there are so many people who have a different the positions or different experiences. Then they sometimes try to use their power like that. So sometimes in the Korean people, they consider it as a common things. Yeah. So if you meet somebody else who wants to use this kind of military discipline, then I just want you to get out of their place right away. Number six, setting moral compass on celebrities. Yeah, the celebrities look so beautiful and gorgeous. They are very rich, and sometimes they look like living very conveniently. But it was not. Sometimes they are very suffering from the bad comments, or sometimes the too much the prejudices from people. We audiences sometimes just put the moral comments on the celebrities, like asking them to be perfect because they're star, they're celebrities, then they should be perfect. So we just ask them um, to be 100% the great every day, and they should not do any wrongs in their lives. So sometimes they have to the the put their the burdens on their shoulders. So I don't know exactly. I have no any experiences doing this, but when I see some kind of news or the columns, then I can find some of the Korean people do this. So but now more than half of the people don't think like that, but we have this kind of traditions. The number seven, predestined the time in Korea. Usually we have a specific predestined time, predestinated time, especially when you are 20, then you have to graduate from high school and you have to study in the college for 2 years or 1 year. After that, you have to go to military service to finish it, and yeah, you have to start your study again at the age of your 24. So yeah, usually this kind of things come out in Korean men, and they should also find the job when they are the 27 or 8. So this is specific time or age exists in Korea. So they are very busy. They're very busy meeting the specific time. So if they are out of the kind of time, then yes, the many people around him or her just ask him to do it right away, because they just want them to be in a track of the time. So which is better like a very sucks, and which is just limit them to the limitation. So usually Korean people are very busy, and they are sometimes deprived of their happiness from this the hectic time. So number eight, self-conscious about others' opinion. As you can see, the Korean people sometimes, avoid having a meal or having a drinks alone because they don't want to seem lonely. They really consider others' opinions, and sometimes they don't want to be looking, poor or stupid. So they care about others so much. So this is kind of make them very um, what's called that the lack of pride, or lack of bravery. They look very sometimes very what's called that the out of control, yeah, out of fashion, just isolated within a house. So this kind of things the make Korean people as a not, but which is not. They just consider others. They just want to show others their yeah, good aspects. So that's all. So I don't care about this actually. Yeah, I can have the food or doing other activities on my own. Yeah, so this is the based on individuals, but usually Korean people consider this. Number nine, Korean don't like standing out. Yeah, this is the little bit similar things. People living in Korea don't like to stand out. So if there's somebody who is standing out, then others just consider him as a just an outsider. So if you just want to show off yourself in a group, in a school, then just bury it, just keep it, not not letting it out. Then it is going to make you isolated from people. So Korean people, I don't know, they don't like this, and they just want to go in the middle, not too much. Like they don't want to be left behind, and they don't want to stand out, which is very it's very picky. I cannot understand why people do this, but Korean people don't like those kind of people. So especially in a school, there's so many isolated students or the person who's doing the standing out, or sometimes the out of control in a classroom. Then they lost all the friends around, which is happening in real. So for real. So this is true. The number 10, the comparison with others. As you know, we are living in an advance of technology, and we are now living with the help of the social network. So they are now crazy about this social network. So they just consider themselves as the unhelpful, the despised, the irrelevant, insignificant, worthless. But they just consider others' lives as valuable, important, helpful, significant, beneficial. Um, yeah, so this kind of comparison makes their lives disastrous and isolated. So most of Korean people sometimes very easily have a contact with or have access to other people's the SNS account, and they just overwatch what they're doing, what they like, what they hate, and they just reflect themselves with others' lives. So this is really true, and sometimes they spend their time the userless like this. So Korean people sometimes compare themselves with others. Yeah, so as you can see, the Korean people have some specific what's called that personalities, characteristics. Like in a school, they have the same the brand of the authors. Yeah, or if they just find some trend or the trend, then just follow them. So Korean pictures in the news or other things, social network, then you can find they are always wearing the same clothes or the similar clothes because they just want to be trend of the clothes. So yeah, that's true for all the Korean people. So that's all I prepared. And yeah, this is true, really. But I don't mean the Korean people are bad because they are very trustworthy, and they're very smart, and they just want to give or offer something to other people, because they are very kind. But you should know that they're sometimes very careful of others, and they sometimes very shy, and they don't want to show off themselves. Yeah, so that's why if you have this kind of information, then you can be the better friend with the Korean people. So yeah, that's all. I just want to talk about in the next topic on the next time. So bye bye.